Hey, what's going on, Lukey, and how exciting it's this time of the year. The NRL season is about to start, the 2024 season. They go and play the first round in Vegas, or the first couple of games in Vegas, followed up by the following week to play the rest of round one, which means it's time to start doing some predictions for the season. Now, I'm not going to be doing the ladder prediction today, or even in fact this week. I'm going to be doing that next week. Obviously, it's only a couple of games this week. Need to save some content for next week, so you just got to bear with me, but I'm going to be doing my sort of bold predictions, just sort of be going over my, just general premiers, minor premiers, Dally M, all that sort of stuff, top try scorers, just kind of the individual awards or, big disappointments, all that sort of stuff, things that I've done in previous seasons. And as we've seen in previous seasons, some of them are absolutely miserable, some of them are pretty close to being spot on, some are spot on. It's just the nature of the beast. It's going to happen sometimes, but look, I'm not going to waste any more time. We're going to get straight into these predictions. I think this is going to be quite interesting. Maybe going to be a shocker to nobody. Maybe it's going to be a shocker to some. Obviously going to be a little bit of bias there, probably with some of these as well. But we're going to start off with the minor premiers. It is an important sort of thing in terms of the ladder, but I don't think it's like the most important thing. And hey, chances are I want to do my ladder predictor. Maybe this isn't even who I have picked as the minor premiers. I don't know. Things could change in 1 week's time. I mean, a week's a long time in terms of thinking about it, considering I kind of just wing this one. I kind of came up with it in about 5 minutes. So look, for minor premiers, I've actually gone with the New Zealand Warriors. All right, that is probably something that I feel like a lot of people will consider them. A lot of people will say they're going to fall down the ladder. A lot of people are going to say they're going to win the comp. I don't think they're going to win the comp. I do think they are going to win the minor premiership though, and here's my logic. Their side isn't filled with state of origin players, therefore they're going to be playing a pretty high strength side. The actual side itself has improved dramatically compared to last year. Can't really recall anybody who's leaving. Obviously, Fanua Blake's going to want to leave on a good note. You got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, who looks like he hasn't missed a step at all. Quite literally a step, best step in the game. He looks right at home in the centres, so there's a centre position, considering not fans, some of the centres that they've been playing in the last couple of years, like Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, is a huge upgrade. Add in the guys who have been there who were unexpected last year. They've had a whole season under their belt to get a lot better. I think Sean Johnson, maybe he's not going to have as good a season last year individually, but I think he's going to be good enough throughout the season. Obviously, Chance is there as well. They got a lot of depth. A lot of the guys who sort of carried the side last year in terms of the forwards, they now don't have to be the big dogs. Got Kurt Capewell coming across as well. So I think it's kind of someone that I forget actually is Kurt Capewell going to the Warriors. And when I was looking through this, I was like, you know what? Good signing. I mean, everywhere he's gone, it's led to success. Penrith, they won a comp. Even like when he was at the Sharks, he was in amongst the squad when they won the comp. Penrith won it. Broncos made the grand final. Nothing says that the Warriors can't make a grand final, win a premiership, win a minor premiership. That's my tip. A minor premiership for the Warriors. I really can't see them getting beat at home. I think that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm looking at where are the sides that I think I struggle to see them lose, and I struggle to see the Warriors lose at home. I really can't see them losing. Maybe it's like Penrith or someone, but for the most part, I think they're going to make that a fortress. It was last year. I expect it to be the same this year. In terms of the actual premiers itself, to the shock of some, and also predicted by many, I'd say the Penrith Panthers. Now, it is a big ask, 4 in a row. It is a big ask. No Crichton, added to the list of players that they've lost over the years. He is a huge loss, a huge loss, but I think they're going to be spurred on just by the fact that Jerome Luai is leaving. I think he's really going to spur them on and kind of going to be like a little bit of that end of an era sort of thing. And, especially with how they lost the World Club Challenge. I don't know, they keep losing it. They just keep finding that little bit of motivation every year, whether it's the World Club Challenge, whether it's State of Origin losses. There's just something that kind of spurs them on. They're not necessarily related to the NRL, but it seems to do the trick for them. Obviously, they've got the experience. They've got that confidence, that cockiness that you only get from being so successful. And I think the thing that can be said about them that can't be said about a lot of the other dynasties is that a lot of those sides were in amongst it. They were in the top 4. You look at the Storm. They were in amongst it, but they weren't winning back to back. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't making the grand final every year. They'd win one, they'd lose one. They would win one, lose one. They'd be in the top 8. Like, they're always in amongst it, but they weren't genuinely the favourites every year. Whereas I think Penrith straight up are the favourites. Even with all the losses, I think they are the favourites going into the season. Obviously, I think the Roosters are a big chance. I mean, you can never write off the Storm. Plenty of up-and-coming sides as well. I mean, the Broncos are going to be there. Expect the Cowboys to be a lot better as well. I'm expecting it to be a great season, but I also don't see like a clear heir to the throne, in the sense that like the Broncos, yeah, they're really good, and I would probably say them if they didn't lose Farnworth and Flegler. A lot of question marks over them in terms of the forwards. They've got a lot of good youngsters, but they were there last year. They were there as good depth, and they needed to use them. Now they're the guys who are going to be the main guys. So, and Kate Ball's another one I didn't mention too. So they have lost a few players. Probably doesn't get noted enough for the Broncos. Adam Reynolds another year older. So that's my thought process in why the Broncos. Other than that, because I think the Broncos are the main contender to actually beat them. But yeah, I mean, as the season goes on, I mean, who would have predicted the Warriors last year, the Cowboys the year before that? There's always some contenders. Maybe even like a team like the Eels get going. And obviously, my Bulldogs 2024, the Omens are all there. It's definitely going to happen, right? I should have just said the Bulldogs. Now, speaking of the Bulldogs, may as well get my most improved team over and done with, and it is going to be the Bulldogs. I think I've said that last year, maybe even the year before. Keep looking at all the signings and saying, yep, this is going to be the year they improve. But I genuinely think this year is going to see a much improved side. Serrato's had a year to sort of get his foot in the door in terms of the NRL, in terms of, get his feet wet. He's been able to figure out what works and what doesn't as an actual head coach. Obviously, a lot of success coming through the ranks at Penrith. But he's also recruited really, really well. And I know a lot said about Bulldogs signing utilities, and I've done plenty of videos in the off-season talking about these utilities the Bulldogs have signed, but they haven't signed them as utilities. At other clubs, they were utilities, yes, but they haven't signed to the Bulldogs as a utility. A guy like Kurt Mann has been signed to play 13. A guy like Jamin Simmons has been signed to play back row 13. The fact that they can play other positions doesn't necessarily mean they're a straight up utility. There's guys who can play other positions. It's like saying, like, is Wade Graham a utility, or was he a second rower who could fill in other positions? That's what I think it kind of is now. Blake Taff in at fullback. You got Stephen Crichton, who can genuinely cover a lot of positions and be world class, whether it's at fullback, centre, wing. I think he's going to get the first crack at centre. Josh Addo-Carr's, a lot of talk about him, being down on form, all that sort of stuff, but he's still scoring a lot of tries. You go through his highlights, he's still scoring it. It's just he's not at the Storm where he's winning every week. So, I don't know, he's not the type of player who's going to, make all these meters, but he's a guy who can create his own chances, and he definitely will, especially with Stephen Crichton inside of him, or Bronson Xerri. You're going to have pace to burn. I think Xerri actually would be inside of him. So that's a very speedy edge, and yet in Burton there as well, I can see some really good things for the Bulldogs. And I'm just looking at kick-outs back. Like, all the guys who are injured, they're all going to be back, hopefully fit and firing. You got your guys like your Sammy Hughes and that coming through. Preston's got a whole season under his belt. I don't see a reason why they shouldn't be better. Not only just the signings, but the guys we already currently have at the club actually getting on the field. That was a big problem for 2023. So we had all these players, but they weren't playing, including Kickouts, Thompson, Panguys, all that sort of stuff. Kind of got rid of the deadwood. Now we're left with the superstars. So hopefully a better season. Now I've done the improvers. I should talk about who's going to decline, and I think that is going to be the Canberra Raiders, and I think they're also going to be the Wooden Spooners as well. Controversial, but also not controversial. They've lost Jack White and haven't really brought in anybody of note. I think Smithies maybe from Super League is being talked about as being good, but they just don't have anyone to really lead them around. Jamal Fogarty is a solid first grader, but he's not your star first grader, and I don't think he ever has been. I don't think he ever will be. He's a good guy if you've got Jack White in there. He doesn't have Jack White in there now. There's still talks about who might be the 5'8". At the time of recording this, no team list for Canberra. Ethan Strange there, Kyle Weeks. There's a lot of guys who might be, a lot of guys who have never really played NRL or are established. And then even with fullback as well, it's a bit iffy. They haven't really replaced Chance, which it kind of begs the question why they let Chance go. But it's just Papali's aging, Whitehead's aging. I think it's Whitehead's last season as well. A lot of aging players, and then very inexperienced in the key positions. Even Hooker Hodgson, they never replaced him. It's kind of, I don't like the looks of them, but they seem to sort of pull it out every season. It's kind of like the Dragons. They'll sit there and I say their squad isn't good, but they tend to do a job every year. And when I say job, I don't mean like set the world on fire, but last year I didn't expect them to make the top 8 and they still did it. I don't know if it's kind of similar to what I said with the Warriors, where when they go to, teams go to Canberra, they know it's going to be a tough game. It's, regardless of how Canberra are travelling, it's going to be a tough game. So I'll say that about Ricky Stewart coach sides. It always seems to be a tough game. And, whether they come last or top 8, I don't know. I think they're going to be very surprising to watch in whatever way it ends up. I think either we're going to see these youngsters absolutely kill it, or we're going to see them be absolutely diabolical and come last. I think that's kind of where it is. I know other ones to talk about. Tigers have looked absolutely trash in the trial, so they're another one I can easily see being wooden spooners, but I didn't want to pick the wooden spoon for them again. I'm pretty sure I pick them nearly every year. Them or the Dragons. The Dragons always seem to escape it, and I do actually think Flanagan will actually coach them half decent compared to some of the previous coaches. Don't like him, but he gets results. So that's the reason why the Dragons aren't there. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Raiders for the biggest decline, considering they were in the top 8 this previous season, and then also the wooden spooners as well. So you can see the big jump down the ladder. Also, another one I could talk about in terms of improvers, I think the Cowboys will improve a lot as well. More so, I think they'll sort of get back to where they needed to be or where they should have been last year. Now we're going to get on to the individual awards. I've been talking about a lot of teams, but we're going to start off with the Dally M medal winner. I'm going to go back-to-back. Again, I'm going to keep talking about back-to-back and, 3-peats, 4-peats. We're going to go back-to-back, Dally M's, Kalen Ponga. I think the Knights are going to have a really good season. I expect them to be in the top 8. I don't think Ponga's going to get picked first state of origin, or if he does, maybe off the bench, I don't know. I don't see him dethroning Reece Walsh, but I think he's going to have a fantastic season. Motivation's definitely going to be there because he had a great individual season, but in terms of the actual Knights itself, obviously they went pretty good, but it took them sort of get going in the second half of the season. I think they're going to pick up where they left off last year, and I think they're actually going to be a really good side. They don't really have too many reasons to not be. I mean, they lose Dom Young, and yes, Dom Young is a great player, but at the end of the day, he's a winger. I don't think he's going to make or break the side. I've seen a lot of people say they're going to really miss him, but I'm seeing in previous seasons they've been able to unearth guys like Dom Young. I mean, he was a nobody going into last season, really. Add in like Marju, he was a guy who was like a fringy guy at the Titans. We'll get on to Marju later on too. I want to mention him. But they have signed Will Price. Looks like he's going to go to the Senators. Gago in the wing. I think they keep looking stronger and stronger. I really do. I don't really see a reason for them to not be any better or any worse than they were last year. I mean, Fitzgibbon is gone, but Fitzgibbon was also an up-and-down player. Hastings got another year. They signed Jack Cogger, who just won a premiership. We saw how instrumental he was in that grand final, so we can see he can do it on the big occasion, and he is much improved from the last time we had sort of seen him as an NRL halfback. So I like the signing of that. Puts a little bit of pressure on Hastings, because immediately when Hastings signed for the Knights, I just assumed he was going to be the halfback, and that goes for Tyson Gamble as well. Add in other guys in the positions. The hooker position was a big question mark with Jaden Brayley, who's been injured. That was answered with Crossland. I'm expecting a big season for the Knights in general, and if the Knights have a good season, Kalen Pong is definitely going to have a great season. I think if he won it last year and they only played good for half the season, I expect them to, do the job this season as well if he plays good the whole season, Just logic there. Then next up is the top try scorer. Now, last year, I think Asako shitted in. I think he absolutely destroyed top try scorer, top point scorer, obviously goal kicks, and that's kind of a big factor in terms of a lot of these guys getting top point scorer. But purely in terms of top try scorer, I'm going to go with Dallin Watene-Zelezniak. We've got Tuivasa-Sheck there. I've predicted them to win the minor premiership. I think it sort of goes hand in hand, considering he was there and about last year, very, very close to winning it. I think Asako actually got it, but he was like 1 or 2 tries away. And I think Asako maybe had, a couple of games where he scored 4 or 5 in one game. So definitely skews it a little bit, but I'm expecting the Warriors to have a very consistent year, probably the most consistent they've ever had. And I think Watene-Zelezniak is going to have another good season. Although, he is a player who is, he tends to be a little bit rocks and diamonds. Plays one good season, plays one terrible season. Maybe this is going to be the terrible season. Maybe he's finally fixed that issue. I don't know. But I think with the talent, I can't remember if he's outside Tuivasa-Sheck, but whoever's outside Tuivasa-Sheck, I think they're gonna have a lot of success. And if he's not outside Tuivasa-Sheck, well, he was already scoring for fun anyway. So he's my pick. It's more so I think Asako won't score as many tries as last year, and I just think Dallin will keep it up pretty much. Although I will say I think Asako is going to get the top point scorer, because I think he'll score enough tries. I think he'll be playing enough every week. I think Dolphins, they don't tend to struggle to score points. Defense is kind of an issue for them, and I think it will be this year as well. Expect them to sort of disappoint a little bit, but I think Asako, he's going to continue his form. Again, another guy who is a little bit hot and cold, and they do have some depth in terms of the wings, so that could be a little bit of an issue with Bostock, Tessinu, all those sort of guys. there, Edric Lee, I think, as well. They do have some depth in the wing center position, all that sort of stuff. So maybe he does get pushed out at some point if he doesn't perform, but I think Osako should be sweet. I think he'd be good for them, and I think he'll get top point scorer just with the tries and the goal kicking as well. He's a bit of a shooter. Stephen Crichton is one that I saw one of the betting sites mentioned him. I think he'll score a few tries, and I think he might goal kick as well, but we'll see. Between him and Burton, just depends if he goal kicks. That's why I wasn't confident in saying that he'll get the top point scorer, because I don't know if he'll goal kick, but I expect the Bulldogs to score a lot of points. We're pretty much an attacking focus side, so I expect him to do some good things, Stephen Crichton. But Osako, top point scorer. And now moving on to my last prediction. It is State of Origin, a very early prediction, and obviously when State of Origin comes, I'll do more in-depth ones, but basically I'm going for the New South Wales 2-1 victory. I think with a new coach and hopefully a lot more motivation and a little bit more discipline, I think we'll see New South Wales hit back. I think it'll be a tough game. I don't necessarily think New South Wales have a more talented side or Queensland have a more talented side. I think it's very, very even. I just think the fact that the New South Wales have lost the last couple, I think they'll hit back. I think they'll just... I just can't see them losing, 2 or 3 in a row. I can't see it happening. Maybe that's just delusion. It probably is delusion. I mean, I did say the Bulldogs again for most improved. So, hey, definitely a lot of bias here, New South Wales fan. But I think we kind of found what we needed in that last game. And, Bradman Best, unearthed a few guys. And hopefully we unearthed a few more guys. Tom Trbojevic, Latrell Mitchell, hopefully they're fit going into the season. Tedesco hopefully has some form. And if not Tedesco, you've got Pappenhausen back, you've got Dylan Edwards. We've got a few different options there. So, I think there is good things to come for New South Wales. Obviously, Queensland, I can't see their lineup changing too much from last year. They've got their little formula. They've got their players. They don't need to do too much. It's just whether New South Wales play at least like a 7 or 8 out of 10, I think they win it. But anyways, I'm going to wrap things up here. Those are my predictions for 2024. Let me know in the comment section below. What are your thoughts of them? Are they absolutely terrible? Are they trash? Most likely, we'll probably laugh at them at the end of the season. Definitely we'll do a video reacting to it. But guys, let me know in the comment section below. What are all your predictions for the ones I just did? Who's your premiers, minor premiers, Dally M, all that sort of stuff. Go ahead and do that. Now, if you happen to enjoy this video and you're looking forward to more content on the channel, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe. The likes are super important. The likes help. It helps the channel grow. It helps the video grow and sort of get more outreach. So if you have an account, subscribe, obviously. Like the video, obviously, as well, especially with the season starting, to build some momentum on this channel. Also, if you want to follow me on social media, it's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke on YT. Go ahead, give me a follow, give me an ad. That's for everything, TikTok included. Going to be making a lot of TikToks this year. Might be focusing on that a little bit, the shorts as well. I like that sort of content. So, we'll be doing a lot of them. And also, if you're a member, thank you very much. You're seeing them on the screen right now. Super chatters are included as well. Going to be doing a lot more streams. A little bit sick at the moment, so I have been, lack of streams. But I have a couple of weeks off work, so going to be sort of ripping into the videos, doing a lot of streams. So, if you are a member, thank you very much for supporting the channel and supporting me, literally. And it's really appreciated. So, thank you very much. And I'm going to wrap things up here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. See yous.